Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your host Vertek and Jimmy Bree are back from their latest adventure.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Golden Feather. Today is, what is today? It's the 16th of July, right? And we have our wonderful guest, Liam H. here for our episode titled Into the Alpha. Say hello, good sir.
Hey, how's it going?
And as always, the lovely co-host sitting right beside me in life and podcast is Chibi Bree.
Hello.
All right. So we're actually officially into the Alpha 1 now. No preview weekends, no testy this and that and the other. I mean, technically we're still testing, but it's not like limited testing, right? We got a whole lot of people in there now. Mm-hmm. How has your experience been going with that, Liam?
I've absolutely loved it. I'd say so I got in way after you guys. I got in about 6 or 7 weeks ago, and the level of improvement, because I know they keep banging on it's not a content test, but the level of improvement from the server side from then to now.
All right, good stuff. And how about for you, Chibi? Give us some of your real quick intake on that. I got to get this game window adjusted real quick.
I'm sorry. I was distracted by the raid. What was the question?
Oh my goodness, they did get a big old raid. Holy moly. Yeah. Holy moly.
Very big raid.
Why, thank you, Paradox. Yeah. Bringing the peeps indeed. Hello, yes, and thank you for following there for Blaze Wolf. How is everybody doing today? I hope you feel well informed coming from the man, the myth, the legend, the brain of the Ashes content creators, holds all the knowledge known to man. I think Steven's the only one who has more info on Ashes in general, right?
I feel like that's pretty accurate. Jalon's pretty good at keeping on top of that, the news and the data, making sure the data is accurate.
The data.
That sounds so scientific.
All right. Well, for all of you jumping in here, sorry to interrupt there. Just want to give everybody a brief synopsis. In case this is your first time here, we run things a little bit differently than your average podcast. We try to bring in content creators and members of the community, people just out there doing things, getting exposure, saying hi to people, and trying to be active. And we let them talk about them and what they like to push for projects. And today with Liam H., sir, could you give us a quick rundown? You've been on the show once before, but who are you? What do you do? And what's your favorite part about Ashes?
So the first thing is I'm not Richie SH. Sadly, I'm not Richie SH. I like Richie.
No.
Yeah, I got some adjusting to do. And by the way, this is my first time streaming the podcast, so things are a little bit rickety while I get stuff in order here. So it's going to take me a few minutes. I'm going to actually do that right now while this gentleman here is talking.
I only just noticed it myself. I'm Liam H. I've been following the game since I think the Lazy Peon video in 2017. I've just sort of briefly been dabbling into it like for a couple of years, and then I think the hype picked up for me about 18 months ago. I think August 2020 is when I got the sort of $250 package for Alpha 2 and onwards, and then I upgraded that when they allowed us to in, was it March? Was it February, March? So I've had Alpha on access now for sort of 6 or 7 weeks. Love testing it. Not enjoyed streaming the testing as much because it's a little bit harder to stream the testing than it is to just physically test it off stream. But in terms of like enjoying the testing, like advanced look, I've absolutely loved it. And like I was saying just a couple of minutes ago as well, the difference like they've made already with the server and the network and everything from 6 or 7 weeks ago when I first jumped into now is just like incredible. I almost see no rubber banding, no FPS drops. There's bugs, but like the kind of bugs that they ask us to test, I think it's absolutely fine. I think it's doing really well.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like they just had their first patch notes, which I think we'll get into a little bit later. Richie, this is not Richie Gilhumbra, as we just mentioned. We're working on fixing this. Liam, however, is from
the UK. Sorry, I was fixing some lighting. I'm from UK.
And it's like what, midnight your time. So
yeah, just after midnight.
We appreciate that.
That's fine.
I'm glad you're here. But yeah, they've been updating some bugs, and unfortunately, we needed to restart our characters due to some less savory folk. So you mentioned that you've been trying to stream Ashes of Creation in your testing. How's that been going?
Yeah, so not as great sort of like streaming wise. So like I've loved making the YouTube videos. I've loved sort of like we started like another little project recently with Ashes, but in terms of like streaming it, it's not been as easy because like every night I come on. So a lot of my sort of followers and community over the years, they're not really into MMOs, so I'm trying to convert them to that now. So they come in every night and they're like, wait, why are you doing the exact same thing as what you did yesterday and the day before and the day? Do you know what I mean? So it's just trying to convince them. Obviously it's an alpha, trying to get past those messages of wait, $500, that question comes up all the time. So yeah, it's just trying to sort of like get the balance and try and sort of get the knowledge over to people on how it's going so far and stuff. But like I said, I've really enjoyed testing it off stream. I've enjoyed testing it a lot more because then you don't have the you don't have like a handful of viewers sort of like constantly pecking away at like, why is this not working, why is that broke, stuff like that. So yeah, no, it's been fun.
Yeah. And Guild Umber really wants to know, what part of the UK are you from?
Near Liverpool, if they know where that is.
Okay.
Hopefully
there we go.
We didn't mean to. I was just casually hanging out in this. But yeah.
There we go. We got a correct nameplate down there now, by the way. Hoo-ha. All right.
Beatles, pretty much. There you go.
And sorry, I was working on finding his name there. Where are we at here? What questions are we on here? What have you not told us yet? I know you're holding out.
Really don't know, actually. I think the only thing I've not enjoyed with the testing, but it's to be expected, so I try not to mention it too much, is just like the amount of broken quests and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? I cannot wait until they get fixed more. So like when we get to stream it, now that it's obviously non-NDA, we can like show it off a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not too worried about that because the content updates will come, Alpha 2 and whatnot.
Oh, absolutely. So have you found many bugs yourself?
So many. Where to start? I think some of them have not reported because they've already been reported before I could get there, but the first bug I ever found was chopping down a tree node. Back when you could do it twice, so you would chop it down, the tree would fall, you'd see a little stump, and then a few seconds later it would automatically sort of like respawn, and then you chop it a second time. But in the middle of that, if you stood on the stump, once it regrew, you were then like locked inside the tree, which I thought was
okay, well that's fun.
Stuck. Yeah, you could only get out if you had like a friend to come and chop down the tree for you. So that was the first ever bug I found. But yeah, 9 out of the 11 quests I had on my character the other day when I was about level 5 or 6, you could not hand them in, whether it was like a mob bug, the final NPC wasn't there, or it would ask you to go to a location. It turns out the NPC is on the other end of the map. But again, those are like sort of content-y bugs, so I report them all, but I'm not too worried about those,
Yeah.
What's been so far your favorite? Like the one that just popped out and you said, oh, there's no way that's happening. Holy moly, that's crazy.
So I like the ones where you fall below the world, but then it doesn't instantly kill you. So if you don't end up in water, so then you can literally just like, obviously you try the Control T, but if it doesn't let you out, the only way to get out, even relogging doesn't work, is to basically kill your character. But if it thinks that you're above water, you can just run around underneath the map and you can see like nodes from underneath and like almost like dungeons from underneath, and you can see people running around above you. And I don't know, I know it's dumb, but it just, I don't know, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, see, some of my favorites are some of the things we bumped into today, which were the desync, I guess to call it, where we would be playing around and one of us just couldn't see the other one moving. It's interesting to say, hey, come get this thing. Oh, where is it? It's 20 paces forward, 12 paces left. Go this way, go that, I don't know, go that way. And trying to describe how to get back to where we were or what we were doing.
Reluctant just called us ash hats.
Ash hats.
Wait, what is an ash hat? I need to explain on that one.
I have no idea. Honestly,
I think it's a spin
but it
on the.
reminds me of- yeah.
I think it's just a spin on calling people asshats. Call them ash hats
that makes
instead.
sense.
But also, we've been watching Critical Role lately, which is I think is what Chibi was gonna say. And there was something that came around that they called the ash hole, which was a giant thing on a mountain. It was like a glyph, and it was just spewing ash everywhere. So they called it the ash hole.
Yeah. Horrenda says the riderless mount is funny next to a bear stuck in a tree. Yeah. Actually, the riderless mount thing, that's been one that's been fun. Is like all the stuff with the horses. What is it? If you go and you swim with a horse, you can get stuck on the horse and become invincible.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
I'd have kept that book going if I knew that.
By invincible, I mean you get down to 0 life and technically you die and you lose stuff out of your bag, but you just keep riding the horse around. So.
Yep.
But yeah, it's interesting stuff. Have you had a chance to jump in any of the raids at all yet?
This has been my biggest frustration. So like, for the time zones and stuff, I found like all the Ashes developers like lead raids have been like really late my time zones, and so I've not had a chance to get. And when it comes to the natural level to like level 12 and above, where they allow you to join in the raids and stuff, I swear I'm the most unlucky person. Every time I get close, I get to the 7s, the 8s, something happens, boom, there you go. I'm reset to level 0 again. So I'll get there eventually.
Yeah. At least they turned off the death XP loss and stuff like that, so I could actually go forward for testing. That was getting a little frustrating with testing and trying to like level, but then the XP debt would kick in and then you couldn't level anymore. And it went from trying to test things to trying to get back to leveling to continue testing things.
Yeah, they are tough.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And actually, a question for everybody out there viewing: what are some things that you wish people would test more that you haven't seen anybody really do? Like, do you want to see different areas, like more stuff around the oceans? Do you want to see more stuff around like the Underrealm? Like, what have you not seen somebody do enough? But while they're doing that, like, how about you, sir? What do you feel like you wish there were more of, like, in the rest of the world when they open it up? What do you want to see more of? What biome or what type of adventure or monsters do you want to see more of?
So, well, I've still not done sieges and all these like elder dragons and the bigger bosses. So I do want to see those, which we get. Hopefully, I'll get to in the current testing. But no, 100%. So I really like the idea of the sea combat, the sea like raiding, and like the open world potential bosses. But I also really like the idea of like, especially early on, once the game's released, jumping on a boat with a couple of friends and then just sailing out and trying to find that island. I'm hoping it's going to be Fog of War on the map. Once the game's released, I'm hoping. I don't know if they've ever mentioned that.
Fingers crossed. I think there is going to be some kind of Fog of War going. And let me shut my phone up. It's being noisy.
Because I think if it's Fog of War and you just got some open sea, like a bit like Valheim, so you've got this open sea in front of you, or you think you've got open sea in front of you, just sailing out and hoping that you hit an island, and then you've got like looting, or you've got maybe some like quests there or stuff, or you just stumble upon like a kraken or something. That'd be scary, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're stumbling across a kraken, that's either scary or you are some kind of hardcore person that just, I don't know. Maybe you just got all the gear already and nothing can surprise you or take you down. But me, I don't know. I still want to see more of the Underrealm, because the stuff that we've played through has been, it just felt like there's more to it. There's enough to get a taste, but haven't really dug through the full extent even that's in the alpha, let alone afterwards. And Guild Umbra says we need to test max fall damage. All right. Well, towards the end of the podcast, we're gonna start running around and doing stuff and checking out things that you folks want to see. So I will happily suicide a couple times for you there, Umbra, if we can climb a high enough mountain to jump. Because it actually isn't. Yeah. There actually isn't a lot of fall damage, surprisingly. Not as much as I would expect. Like you'd think that there'd be a lot more, like twice as much. Test the respawn system. Oh, believe you me, we've tested that plenty. Plenty. But yeah, fall damage I think it's got some kind of like a cap or something. It can't be what they intend for live. But becoming a citizen and mayoral voting. Yeah, I want to see more of that myself. I can't. Yeah, I haven't had a good bout where I've been able to get into a city at a certain level and had enough time to try to become a citizen. How about you there, Liam? Is that worked or done anything for you? Have you gotten to that point?
No, I've not had the chance to be a citizen, to buy or to try and buy any kind of housing or become a mayor. Yeah, I've literally not had a chance. Like I said, I feel like I'm so unlucky. I hit 1 to 6 and then boom, I either go to bed and wake up, or obviously like they've patched the game or the testing's ended, and so I feel like I can master level 1 to 6 or 7. I've done this quest like 15 to 20 times. Anything after that, it's completely brand new to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a fun thing is I've only, I guess, seen it functioning one time, and that was when Steven got voted mayor in the one video they made a long time ago. I haven't actually seen anyone actually doing the whole mayor thing yet. And let's see. Yeah, PvP, as Chibi said there, it's currently disabled. There was some murder hobos, and they want to test the systems, so instead of murder hoboing, they go out and do stuff and stop chasing people away. But there should be a good bit of siege testing going on. I would imagine they're going to do at least one a day, if not 2 or 3 times.
As things pop up on the screen.
Yeah. In case you couldn't tell. Stand by. Yeah, in case you couldn't tell, that video right there is actually live, and apparently they're doing some kind of raid testing at the moment. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to see some things popping up. Almost guaranteed that's going to be Steven.
Yeah.
Let's see, Underrealm race. Yeah. Well, someday I don't think that's coming along until the beta phases, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, that's a very far ways into the future. We will not be able to show you that even if we wanted to.
Unless you literally mean like if we get down in the Underrealm when we race from one side to the other, because that might be a thing too. Because getting down there to some areas requires you to run through some fog that will kill you. So, run! Can you live? It's going to be a question for sure. Yeah, and you know what? There's definitely some placeholder money costs there. Have you noticed that, Liam? Like with the apartments and the housing? It seems like it's super varied.
Yeah, I didn't see the prices. I can see in chat there they're saying like 2,500 gold. So I've definitely never had that much. I think the most I've had is 6 or 7, and then I've just spent it on mounts so I could have a look at those and have a test. But yeah, 2,500 seems like a random amount. But also with the looting that's in the alpha at the minute, I presume this isn't like full game loot, if that makes sense, because we only really get the shards, right, which we can sell. There's literally nothing else drops other than shards. So yeah, I reckon the amounts that they charge for houses and stuff are just kind of like made up for it for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the most I've had at one point is like 1,200, and that's from by the power of the gods, I summoned the old one. Oh lord, he's doing something. That's how you know there's some GM hackery going on right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the most I've had is 1,200, and that's from doing a bunch of quests and selling a bunch of those little things that drop off of people.
Yeah. Also, for those of you that are new, and since this is kind of new to us, by the way, we're doing our more official podcast currently, and then afterwards we're planning to play a little bit. So if there's any of you out there that have Alpha 1 access and would like to join us, feel free.
Yeah, we'll probably pop over into Discord and do a little bit of running around. Do a little bit of running around together. See what we can jump into, and anybody who does not have alpha access at all will have priority on saying where they would like us to go. We're on Resna? Resna? Yeah, sounds about right. Resna. Resna it is. So, sir, what do you plan on doing for content in the near future? Do you have anything planned that you're like, I want to really do this thing, and you just haven't quite gotten there yet?
I mean, I would say I really want to get into like the lore and the story behind the game. I think like, especially with an MMO, if you're just like blindly playing through, your average MMO that's out there, you speed leveling, you're hitting dungeons and raids, but you don't really know what's going on in the background, you can kind of like lose touch from that MMO quite quickly. So I don't actually know officially if like all of the full lore for like the world and the game as it will be in the future is like fully released anywhere, because I'd love to start reading into it and like just like getting to know everything, so I know exactly sort of who's who, why we're in this like specific land, why are these certain creatures here, why are these certain bosses here, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know bits of the lore, but I'd like to know way more about it.
Yeah, you got to know all the things. And Fred, Double XL, you've met one of our good-hearted resident trolls. That would be Reluctant Raven. But yeah, this is Ashes of Creation. It is a game that is in definitely alpha, like early alpha development. So it's going to look really pretty, but they're still building some of the core systems out, and combat and such like that isn't fully fleshed out, but it's showing promise, especially so early on.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this place, for crying out loud. Even with the big old horse butt in your face. Like, look at the water. Crying out loud. I just got to make it more reactive, I think. So when you're splashing through, you see it going splish splash.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll hang out under the water for a second there.
Don't call me good-hearted. You'll ruin my rep. Yeah. Also, we have the game tagged in our like category. We're streaming under Ashes of Creation. So if you're ever wondering what game somebody's playing, check out what category they're streaming under. Most likely that'll have the game name.
Yeah, well, Umbra,
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just like reading them out loud, so I was just going to read what he was saying. That's all.
Do it. Peer pressure.
Okay.
Peer pressure.
Anyway, Guild Umbra says, I've been hearing lately that AOC has a lot of influence from Arcade. I haven't gotten that vibe. And then
What do you think on that one, Liam? Have you played Arcade?
So I've not played Arcade, but I've seen enough of Steven saying like that's one of the games he's played in the past. And to be fair, I have seen Arcade mentioned like in a lot of streams, like in my own and a couple of other people's I've been lurking in, and you just sort of like, you're watching chat bounce up, and quite a few people do mention Arcade, so it must have something for that many people to get those vibes from. But yeah.
Yeah, I figure there's got to be something to it, but I think it's mainly the systems that it's borrowing a lot of influence from the systems in Arcade and Lineage 2 especially. Those are the two that Steven talks about a lot more than anything else. I think visual influence, I think they're kind of going their own direction, really. There's not many that really have that realistic but also fantasy look and less, what's the word they use? Stylized graphics. Most of them, even the fancier ones, have a stylized look to them for the most part. But
yeah, that's fair.
But like if you run over here and even look at this stuff, I mean, look at the patina on the bronze statue. Like they're definitely going for more of a realism type of effect here. Yeah. Like all the stuff up there, the stone just looks amazing, especially up close. Like honestly, it's probably not as good on my restream of it here because I mean I'm going from a 3414 like 21 by 9 monitor down to, I mean the entire everything I'm streaming out is 1080. So I mean it's a massive reduction in resolution, but bananas. See, and then there's real creepy
lots of good
stuff
emotion,
like,
yeah.
What's this thing? It's like a seahorse, but not.
Reluctant Raven says things... Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
Reluctant Raven says things in this game are AA inspired, not the game as a whole. The PvP ideology is heavily AA inspired, as well as the naval content.
Yeah,
so
well, I think...
it's not... I guess... inspired people can misunderstand as the artistic inspiration of, and not specific elements being inspiration, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I mean, you got to start somewhere when it comes to inspiration. I mean, nobody comes up with an idea anymore that's 1000% unique. Like, there's going to be some basis in something somewhere. I mean, for crying out loud, just adding swords and shields to the game is taking inspiration from real life medieval times, and there's been 79,000 like Renaissance, medieval, and etc. games since then till now. So it's not a unique idea to say, hey, we're going to have a paladin. It's not a unique idea anymore, no matter what you call it. You could call it anything. If it's a holy type knight that has a sword and a shield, it's a paladin, and that's not a unique idea.
Yeah. So Umbra asked, and Liam, I want to get your opinion on this. What are your thoughts now that Asmongold is talking about ASE? It seems like good bit of press and marketing.
Yeah, so Stephen mentioned a couple of days ago that which one was it on now? It was on a stream a couple of days ago that they've not spent Intrepid haven't spent a single penny on marketing, and with streamers nowadays, with YouTube channels out there and all these kind of things, you don't, if you hit the market right, you don't need to. Like, why would you pay? I would love to know if there's anybody in the chat randomly who maybe works like a TV station. So Asmongold, for example, gets I think he got like 120,000 viewers live the other day when he was on Ashes. I would love to know the price of running a 30-second ad on a TV program / station that currently had 100,000 viewers just for the 30-second ad. I guess minimum you're talking a couple $100, right? Maybe $1,000 or $2,000, just minimum, and that's for 30 seconds. Never mind if the guy sat there for 4, 5, 6 hours, and it's not just 100,000 viewers. That's 100 concurrent. It could be 200,000 or 300,000 viewers over the entire stream who get to see the game completely for free. That could be, if all goes well, 300,000 people, just as a ballpark number, from one single streamer who pick up this game once it's out, and then obviously sub to the game. And so I think it's a great idea, so long as these people, which Asmon does, knows it's an alpha, don't bash the game for being obviously completely broken and buggy and stuff like that. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, and you know what? That's even a term that I find is maybe it's easy to come to mind, but it's not quite accurate, and that's broken, because the game isn't broken yet because it was never in a fixed state. And I mean, not to dog you on using the term, it's just something that literally it just occurred to me today. I'm like, you know what? Even I've used the term broken for the game that's in alpha. It's never been in a fixed state. It's never been completed yet, so it's not really broken. It's just not fully assembled.
Yeah. Did you guys want to talk about some topics that we found on Reddit? Drive forward more of what the community as a whole is shouting about.
Sure. What you got? Give me an example. What are we talking about? So,
someone was talking about skills depth, and I will grab this. This is from u/rampant staff. And it says, I know it's early alpha. I know things will be changed and revamped and other classes are yet to be revealed, but I do get the spells we know are only up to level 15. I just hope in the future we'll have like more of purges or cleanses, situational spells, a bit more of a 500 IQ game changer, big CD stuff, etc. Cooldown stuff for those of you that don't know. We're not sure yet how much augments from secondary archetypes make the difference, but but I'm just curious because arenas, GVGs, which are probably smaller scale fights, a bit deeper combat mechanics, skills would be nice for that type of content. What do you guys think? More in-depth things, things that maybe have a large cooldown, but is a huge game changer for a fight like that. I know sometimes I felt something similar when healing, where I drop a really big, massive heal and I'd have to wait a really long time to be able to drop it again. But it's been literally game changing for those kind of fights.
Yeah, see, I like the skills that, for one, you either see heavy rotation or are situational, but as it says there, like game changing. And we already know that there's going to be some other skills added for sure. Because they're even talking about the cleric that can cleanse that gas going into areas, like noxious gas that poisons people, and we haven't seen that skill on the cleric yet. So, I mean, there's definitely some already planned, already in the work skills. Like they don't even have to think of them yet. They already know what they're going to do, and they're just not in there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to what you're saying as well. I think, I'm looking at the skill tree now. I mean, for example, on active, you've got 1, 2, 3, you've got 4 like little bars of sets of 3. There's no way that's going to be the only amount of skills you're going to have once the game's out and the max level's 50. I can't imagine how many skills will be. Double this maybe triple at a push. So yeah, and then so on the tanks one, for example, I've not found a skill yet where it's a specific skill which does no damage, but it just pulls that 1 or 2 targets, for example, directly to you. It takes that 100% aggro. Now, I've not took the tank all the way down to level 15, so I don't know if that is in there, but I've not had that yet. And if I'm going to play a tank, I need that specific skill, which physically takes the aggro. So yeah, I'm sure they'll bring a lot more in-depth skills.
Yeah.
Alfred,
sorry.
Maybe?
Steven just put split body attacking will be updated in about a week to test, FYI. So that brings up another good conversation point. How do you guys feel about split body attacks? How did that physically feel for you playing the game?
I assume by split body attacks he means like you need to tack down, like say the left arm and the right arm down at equal measures or something like that. Is that
I thought that was like your bottom half is facing one way and doing one thing while the top half is doing another. Isn't that the split body that they were talking about previously?
Yeah, not certain, because I only thought that because they were in the middle of the raid thing talking about split body attacks. I wasn't sure. I mean, possibly. I know, well, let's go on the assumption that it is what they've talked about before, where, yeah, your body can go in one direction, you can attack in another. I mean, as long as it's not unwieldy so. I mean, I don't want to be like an owl that hinges at my waist, attacking directly behind me and running forward. That would be just weird, but I would like to be able to sidestep and attack forward. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not very realistic, because if you're just chucking sort of spells behind you as you're running away, so yeah. Yeah, definitely. I guess that's kind of in the wrong section. Let me just move that real quick. Okay, there we go. So Lazy Peon played, and he made his initial Alpha 1 response video and his thoughts on Alpha 1 and Ashes of Creation in general. I was trying to mix the two words, I guess. But I kind of wanted to talk. He kind of gives it a very basic, like, so this is what you do to get the reticle and stuff like that. But overall, I guess I want to ask, has Alpha 1, and even those of you in chat who are playing, has it felt the way that you're hoping it would feel? Or has it surpassed that feeling? Would you like me to answer? Or are we waiting for chat? Yeah. So I'd only ever, obviously before like 6 weeks ago when I got in, I'd only ever seen it from the dev streams, and I just couldn't get a feel of what the game was just from watching through the stream. So as soon as I jumped in, within, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, I was saying to the couple of guys in Discord that I was playing with at the time, like, you have that like you have that, like, that little chilled kind of feeling you get when you jump into a brand new MMO and the whole world just feels brand new. You have no idea what's going on, but it's just like, then you see people attacking another monster over there and you can hear it, and then you can see something like a dungeon door over there, and like I had that feeling, and this is Alpha 1, so, and that was like 6 weeks ago. So I got that feeling as soon as I got into the game. Especially running, so like when you first spawn in the portal, instead of like running towards a quest star, we ran through the gap at the back, and we were just killing like scale runners in like the little sort of like lakey area, and I had that feeling. I really enjoyed it. So I can only imagine what it's going to be like in sort of 2 years maybe when it's finally released, Yeah, exactly. Sir Unsington says it feels good. I didn't come into it with expectations though. That's fair. I often don't go into anything with expectations. I just kind of leave it to whatever the experience will be, What about you, Vertec? Was it how you expected it to feel?
I am going to say that with the alphas that I've tested, this is pretty much right on par with what I expected. Like, it's not better, it's not worse. This is pretty much it. It's an incomplete game. I will say visually it looks a lot better than I expected. But as far as functionally, it's pretty much about what I was thinking it was going to be, 20% of your skills available, not all the classes are ready. They're building the base systems that everything else is going to be copied and pasted upon. Like once they make a template for characters and classes, they can copy paste and adjust things as needed. Like they have one melee class, so they copy this from the first melee class that they got perfected and pasted in the other. And the combat system is going to work for everything, so it doesn't even matter. But yeah, it's pretty much on par with what I was expecting.
For me, environment is amazing. So Herndon says, for me, the environment is amazing. The viewing distance is nice. It's a tech test, but I'm glad there was gathering and crafting. Yeah, at a very, very basic level, but yeah. That kind of, Grumpy also enjoys the viewing distance. Yeah, I agree. That kind of brings me to another thing, but before I go into that, Salt and P, 3P, I don't know.
Salt and Pep.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you. That didn't register right away. It says, personally, I think they should focus on one combat system rather than action and tab targeting, which I kind of agree. Today, I was testing out the reticle using, was that action combat? And I was having more issues with it than I was in tab. And I'm also more used to tab targeting than I am anything else. But like the issues that I was having was like, I would be trying to heal him while attacking something. And the next thing I know, I've somehow like increased the size of my game screen. And now I'm like just clicking off. Whereas if I stay in tab targeting, my cursor doesn't leave the game unless I make it leave the game. I was not enjoying that too much.
Yeah, I would also prefer if they focused on one combat system, but think it's alright if they incorporated some of the other. Like say if my favorite, again, it's always been WildStar. WildStar's combat system was fantastic. It was mostly action based. There were templates that would drop on the ground and show you where your attack's going to go, and you had to aim it. If you missed, whatever. But they also had some single target stuff that made sense. Like heals, there were some heals that were very much like your big gigantic boost this person heal was single target. Like your stuns were single target. You picked which thing you were trying to stun specifically rather than I want to stun whatever's in that direction. And then as soon as the boss goes to do a thing and you need to stun or interrupt, then the minion jumps in the way and you're screwed. But I have a rifle. I would be able to shoot over its head. Why? But like that's why I really loved it.
Yeah.
And for me, I really love action combat in general. I do think eventually the way it's going, it'll be like maybe like 95% tab with just the occasional something in there which is action style. But biggest issue I've had, especially as a mage, if I'm in a little party and the cleric or the tank goes in sort of like 1v1, when you're using your default sort of wand attack, obviously you just like sort of left clicking, it keeps targeting like my teammate, even if we're in a party as well, it keeps targeting them, and then I can't target the mob that's like slightly in front of them, so I have to like run all the way to get like a 90-degree angle to then be able to carry on attacking. So I don't know how they can fix that, but would, if they're going to continue with action, I think that needs fixing.
Yeah, I agree. Ardrea, who I've not seen names, so Salt and Pep and Ardrea, welcome guys. Both new names I haven't seen in the chat before. Says, in my opinion, tab versus action, I'm fine with either, but both can be done well and both can be done badly. Salt and Pep says, well, you look at the most successful MMOs, the combat is on point. I've said it once and I'll repeat it until the cows come home. A follow WoW combat system is fluid and has worked for years. Sorry. The cows come home thing, Vertec has a funny story about the cows coming home.
It's a long story, but yes, literally partied till the cows came home.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, that logic to me doesn't sit quite right. I mean, if that's what you like, so be it. But you could follow the same logic out to anything in the world. Like, why even create a new restaurant? Just do McDonald's again. Just follow McDonald's model. It's worked right. They've made billions. They're a worldwide company. They're successful. Just make a McDonald's, man. Don't bother making something better, quote unquote better. It's not broken. Don't fix it. Just do McDonald's.
Yeah.
That's it. We just need 100,000 McDonald's in this town, and that's all we need. And it's not really the case. I mean, there's a reason why people are upset with WoW. For one, it's content and this and that, but it's also people can get bored of the combat system. Tab target itself isn't broke, not necessarily, but when it comes to creating something new, why not try something that you think people might like better? Or why not try something that you, as the creative visionary, would like better?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
why change if people don't want it? Because there's a lot of people that do like action combat a lot better than tab target. There's a lot of people.
And the good news is you can choose what you want to do. So
yeah.
Winner of both worlds, literally. So if you like tab targeting, don't go into the reticle. If you don't like tab targeting, use the reticle.
Well, by the same token, I mean, I could say that I hate WoW because of its combat, and it hasn't failed. Just because you hate something doesn't mean that it's going to fail. It's one part of a gigantic recipe. But I think that's where there's some merit in them trying to do both combat systems. I think it might train wreck down the line and they're going to have to pick one or the other. But currently I could see it being, instead of being a perfect combat system of tab target or a perfect combat system for action, it's going to be like a 75% or 80% of the best it could be with both of them. Which, to appease the most people and or give people the most flexibility, that's cool. BDO. Honestly, just BDO. I mean, it's pay to win and all, but there's still a ton of people to play it. And I absolutely love the combat system. Everybody who continues to play it likes the combat system that I know of anyway.
Yeah. A Llama Snackfire says PvP for tab targeting. It doesn't really make sense for it. Yeah, BDO combat is pretty good. Define succeeded. I liked Terra back in the day, 9 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's kind of a perception thing. Like, I haven't played ESO myself, so I can't really speak to that one. But if it's action combat, then yeah, absolutely, I would still call that being successful. I mean, you can't compare everything to WoW being like WoW successful, because WoW successful is the exception to the rule. WoW is the Jeff Bezos of the video game world. Like, you can't just be like, oh, well, I suck at life because I don't have $183 billion in my bank account, so I'm just a terrible person. No. You're still a successful person. You're just not that successful. That's all.
But yeah, I like Ardrea Salt and Pep says, I'll for sure play Ashes with the combat system as it is or as not. Action's not my cup of tea, but it isn't a defining reason for me not to play.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. And that's why I think it's great that, I mean, Steven seems to like the action combat thing and wants to leave tab targeting open to people, and I mean, so be it.
Here's
I know, I'm terrible, Umbra. I'm terrible.
Here's kind of a I don't know if it's like, what's that word? Topical, but like a lot of feelings one way or the other. I don't know. Controversial. There we go.
Yeah,
Jeez.
controversial.
From you/Yoski. Sorry if I messed your name up.
Yeah, the death penalty one.
Yes. Will the death penalty survive modern gamers? I come from old school MMOs with high stakes PvP where you literally shake with being PK'd. And that is awesome. But the remaining MMOs with such systems are relatively niche. I'm scared that if they market this game like a regular cookie cutter MMO, there'll be a huge backlash from gamers not used to such harsh gameplay. I hope the devs can hold their ground. Sorry if this has already been discussed to death, but I couldn't find anything. What do you guys think? Modern MMOs and the death penalty.
I think it's got to have one, because like everyone keeps like mentioning with this game like risk and reward, and there is, but it's all just for me, it's just down to balance. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you run into X amount of mobs or whatever, or a boss, and you die, and you die 10, 15 times in a row, and there's no penalty whatsoever, it's like, I mean, other than like, I suppose attempting to learn the game a bit more, and obviously in your next attempt you try a different combination of skills, whatever. I don't really see the point in that. You just, I mean, well, yeah, what's the point? There's got to be some kind of risk. You know, there's got to be a point where you're like, all right, I'm down to 40% health. Is this the moment where we run away? Do you know what I mean? Do we bail from this fight? But I think so long as the balance is good, because in the earlier part of the alpha, a mate I was playing with, he just got a bug where every time he respawned, the dot he had on him just killed him again. So that was just a little bug, but essentially I think he got something, I can't remember the exact percentage, but he was telling me his full bar down the bottom of the XP debt, I think it was that big. He just re-rolled another character in the alpha, because like he ran around for 2 hours and he only got like 10% of his this huge def XP bar. So obviously the balance at that point was like really, really bad. Obviously in future, if the balance is a lot better, then there does need to be some kind of risk. Makes it a little bit more fun, I think.
Yeah, you also have to think, like what Horrendous is saying there with, people learn to flag purple to avoid item loss, etc., etc. You also got to think that death penalty is going to be amplified for people with corruption. So for one, they're going to have to make the decision on, am I sure I can gank this person? So they're probably going to go for low-level players or whatever, but then low-level players are going to have low-level items. So is it really worth getting corruption and chancing a bounty hunter killing you and you losing a lot more experience debt and a lot more items? Or do you just not? And also, if you're going to try to just up and kill somebody as a PK, do you really think you can take them? If there's a chance you might not, then you're going to be the one losing experience. So there you go, more balance for that. Yeah. But the big negative part is going to be doing dungeons as a leveling player. That's where that's going to stink. Yeah, that's going to be a real hard call right there. Like, you better learn to keep your backs covered. Make sure you have an escape route. Always have an exit plan.
Yeah. I personally am not very good at running through the world and killing things. Usually they kill me. So I'm not super excited for the death penalty thing. But that being said, I feel like it does give you a sense of danger more than, like Liam mentioned, not losing anything over it. It gives you more of a sense of, I should probably be intelligent with what I do here. Otherwise, I could lose my stuff and gain like XP debt and stuff like that. So I feel like it kind of adds more of a choice, I guess, a real life choice response to your decisions, rather than if I die, I'll res, it'll be fine kind of response. I know that when I was watching Lazy Peon's video, he found out really fast that when he died, he lost half his shards that he had been accumulating. And so if you farm like 1,000 shards and you only get like 500 because you died, like that's a lot of money that you just lost out on because you died, essentially.
Yep.
Interesting.
And we found out today that sometimes it's really hard to go back and get your body.
Yeah.
You died for a reason, and sometimes it's not so easy to go back and pick up those items again.
I think you had like 2 or 3 corpses by the time that you finally figured out where you were, that you had to like sneakily figure out how to get to and then get your items back before somebody else came along and looted you.
Yeah, and actually, that's a fun little point from Salt and Pep there. Death penalty may become a game breaker though, as if you die to a small bug and lose some stuff when the game is full launch, you're gonna be pissed.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was already pretty upset. Yeah, I was already pretty upset with the testing. I was glad that they shut off the PvP or the death penalty currently. Not really the PvP. I don't really care about that part, but because I would die to a bug and then I would get death by environment things. And then one time when I was respawning, I kept falling through the earth and dying again without, like, I didn't do it. It would bring me back and then I'd fall through the earth again and then I'd die again. And at that point I just gave up on trying to level the character at all. I was like, let me just find some other character to level because those can be faster than trying to get rid of all of that. But that being said, currently they're working on balancing the way that that's supposed to work because I believe at that time it was still broken. I rage quit Valheim because of that 4 bodies and I was done. It's good motivation, especially later in A2V1 8.2 testing to find those bugs and get the devs to fix them. Yeah. Let me squash this bug now so I don't have to face death penalty later.
Yeah, I mean that's something. If anybody can put a bug in someone's ear, like definitely. Yep. You know, make sure that the devs understand that they're going to need some solid logging software running. Yeah. Because if there is a small bug, like, I don't know, let's say a tank ultimate defense skill just fails to do anything or doesn't work quite right, and a raid wipes or a dungeon wipes or even a single person wipes and just drops a whole lot of stuff because that one ability didn't work, that could be 20 people calling in for, you know, getting a whole lot of stuff back because one tank died to a bug.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Horrendous. That was my plan. I'm like, if I keep losing stuff, I'll just sell a lot of my stuff so that I can keep the gold. Although it helps to not misspell your guild name, you know. So.
Yeah. Why is that? Do tell.
I don't know. I was trying to make if Vertec can scroll in a little closer. I was trying to make our guild name the Golden Feather. And I missed the H for the J. And it was like a weird spelling of feather.
The golden
and there was
feature.
No way to edit your guild name. The only way to do it is to disband guild. And so I spent 500 gold, which took us a little bit of getting, just to test out the I can't change my guild name experience.
Yep. And then spent another 500 to buy a whole nother guild.
Yep.
Which was basically all the money she had, and then I had to split mine with her so she could get some armor.
Yeah.
Which I'm jealous. Look really at that. Sweet. Look at that armor, right? Looks real great. That's what clerics get at level 5. Level 5 cleric right there, right? Or I mean, she's level 6, but that's the armor.
Yeah, that was a level 5
Look at mine. Here's the tank armor. Look, I got leather. I hit the local leather shop, and I also got a bucket hammered onto my head here.
I took my helmet off.
How much of a drastic difference is that?
Much better than yours.
I mean, granted, it's detailed. It's detailed armor, but it's not as flashy.
Tank problems.
So flashy.
You're wearing scraps.
I don't get to look as nifty. Yeah, don't get me wrong, like, it's super detailed. I mean, there's wrinkles in the leather and cloth for crying out loud.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people that and them saying, like, hey, we need more of this, and hey, we need more of that. So being that he was able to gift me some silver to be able to get my armor, there's definitely some trading capabilities happening with that.
It's about right. It's about right.
So I'm not really one to be a drama person, but this was posted by fly weights are boring. But basically, a streamer was already multi-boxing AOC with 4 accounts and 4 PCs, and they said that by the time it came out, they're planning on having 40 accounts and 40 PCs, and they're saying like, isn't this a form of pay to win? There needs to be a limit on how many multi-boxed accounts you can have. And Toast had actually responded at some point saying anything that uses one input to control multiple characters will be against the rules. So yes, the team will be gathering data on this during alphas and such to help flag for further action. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is I think there's a slight misunderstanding on what they're allowing. Like, they're not allowing someone to have the linked setup to where you can have 40 PCs, for example, and they're all like auto followed on a character, and then when you target something, they all target something, and then when you hit the number 1 key, they all attack with their number 1 skill. Like, that's called botting, and that's already been stated is completely not going to fly. They're not going to allow that. But if you have, say, 2 or 3 computers, and you wanted to run with a tank, a cleric, and a mage, and you literally enter some stuff here, and then you turn to this computer and you're doing stuff over here, and then you turn to this computer and you're doing stuff over there, and you literally have to like multi-hand it around to multiple computers, that they're cool with. That's not exactly pay to win, because you're busting your tail too. Like, you have to manually do everything for 3 separate characters.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
Jix, is that how you say? Jix says script will hide the one input stuff, which is fair. You can't script that out. But what do you feel like, Liam?
Well, first of all, kudos to the guy who has the money and the funds to have 40 PCs. I mean, fair play for that one. But no, so the problem for me is I don't know how they're gonna like stop it, like full stop. Anyway, like I said, obviously, yeah. So you could be scanning for, like you said, one input, multiple machines. That's fine. Obviously, ban that. That's not fair. But then, you know, there are gaming organizations out there that will have one building, and they might have 40 PCs in that one building. They could all be Ashes Creation, PvP, you know, team players, for example. So how would they tell the difference between that, a gaming org, which would be allowed, 40 different people, between some guy who has 40 PCs in his huge basement? You know, I don't know how they would be able to tell the difference, if that makes sense, to be able to block the right people and not. Does that make sense? I don't know how
So the tricky thing is going to be, like, that person's going to spend so much time and money on scripting, it's going to be absolutely ridiculous, because for one, they need to have and hey there, MobTech, how's it going? But they need to have all of the characters not stacked right on top of each other. Which, when there's 40 separate players, is going to be easy. They're going to be shuffling the entire time to make sure that they can all get a hit in, they can all do this, they can jump out of the bad, whatever. Now, if not, then there's going to be 40 different computer-controlled things, and it's going to be, you basically would have to build 40 separate AIs that reacts to whatever your character does. I mean, literally 40 separate AIs, because if they're all the same AI cloned over and just different buttons are hit, you're going to have 40 characters hitting the same, hitting an attack at the same exact moment. All of them. Just boom, boom, boom. And it's going to look totally different to a machine that can analyze multiple millions of data points every second. Yeah.
Reading through chat, Ardria says it's possible technically, but a lot of development effort for not much of a result. Llama Snack Bar says this man should be mining Ethereum with his 40 PCs, not playing AOC.
Right.
And I was gonna say I'm kind of glad that they're open to the multi-boxing, and not because I plan on multi-boxing, but because you can have 2 computers from the same IP address playing the same game, and I am one and Vertec is another. So if they were to ban multi-boxing, we might be confused for multi-boxing technically, because we're both from the same.
Yeah.
What?
I was just saying, caught in the crossfire. Yeah, agreeing.
Yeah. Because we could be mistaken as multi-boxing instead of 2 separate accounts, like a husband and a wife playing in the same household, you know? So that was kind of cool. Also, MobTech says, how good are the environments for Alpha? So good. Can't wait for Alpha 2. I can't wait for Alpha 2 either. But yeah, Yeah, exactly. Like Guild Umber just said, multi-boxing is normally isn't normally disallowed as long as you pay for subs per box, which makes sense. Like I was trying to uh, level a character on my dad's secondary account when I was younger on World of Warcraft. So I was running my primary character with my secondary character following behind and trying to protect her to like fast level her by myself. And that way I could jump on the second account and my dad could jump on his primary account and we could play together. But I mean, it was still kind of fun. It was difficult because I'd have to like, okay, like jump over here and attack and jump over here and like heal and like, you know, jump back and forth. But that was my first and only experience with multi-boxing.
Yeah. My only experience with botting was kind of funny. I was playing WoW. I guess you could call it botting. I had one of those add-ons that would alert you and like scream really loud if there was a super rare mob spawn, and I was trying to get one of those mounts. And I rigged up a little motorized situation so it would sit there and jostle my mouse around and click every once in a while, and that way it wouldn't kick me out of WoW. That was my one experience of the dark side. I sat that in overnight. I set it up so it would sit there and I would fly around. It would click the screen for me every like couple of seconds, and it would alert me and wake me up with a really loud noise through my speakers if the rare spawn dragon flew around, so I could try to get it.
I'm just imagining like a really loud trumpet be like dur 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 dur.
That's pretty much exactly what it was.
Nice.
It was actually like the foghorn, the murr. Yeah, it was that thing.
Nice.
I had this what would scare the bejeebus out of me and scare me awake. But yeah, that's the thing. Awesome. I think some people are misunderstanding. It's stuff like that that's like automated, something that's doing something for you is not going to be allowed. But if you can sit there with 3 computers and control 3 characters, so be it. There's no way that person's going to control 40 characters on 40 accounts and be effective at all.
Yeah. Do you guys want to power through some of the news real quick and then maybe get into some play?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. On the topic of multi-boxing and warding against things that aren't allowed, we had our first official patch notes for Alpha, and it included a lot of bugs that were fixed, some balances, and especially a security update where a lot of people had their characters deleted because of a hacker. And apparently some hacker was also giving out like 2k gold to people. So they've already started working on like their security things with that. And essentially like the message from Steven was like, hey, if you could just, maybe not hurt my testing, but work with me to prevent this from being able to happen, that would be awesome. We're all gamers here, we all want to play. Which is just, I don't know, I thought that was a nice like humble way to approach something like that. Also yesterday they gave away Alpha 1 keys to 5 people that followed and I guess liked their Twitter post. They also did it on, I think, Instagram. So if you guys are trying to get into Alpha 1, I know it's a super slim chance, but those would be the places to watch if for people giving away keys. And I wouldn't be surprised if like some of the larger streamers like Asmongold had some keys to give away too at some point. I know when we were doing the APOC stuff, they had people like Lex have like nice cosmetics that were being given away. And then finally they left a guide to Alpha 1 on their news forum. If you guys want to go check that out, kind of talks about like what the purpose of the Alpha 1 test is, and they're limiting trying to not restart the server as much as possible and restart people's progress as much as possible. But when things come up where they have to, but they really don't, they really like express that they don't like doing that pretty much. So
Yeah, it's going to be done as little as possible. 0 if at all possible.
Yeah.
But
live
like
GMs can be expensive.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, they've already said they're going to do live GMs, which honestly, you hit the nail on the head there. Like, you need to develop the reputation for not tolerating this stuff and for having GMs that will run around in invisible mode and drop a ban hammer as soon as they see actual evidence of you doing something negative that impacts others, like, you know, hacking this or hacking that, or, you know, trying to scam people, and just, but I saw it. I saw what happened. You know, chat log proves it.
Drop a sandal.
Yeah, drop the ban sandal. Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, once you develop that reputation, who knows when an invisible GM's sitting around, so you don't need as many people.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I have in here for notes. Is there anything that you guys want to chat about left?
I wanted to really quick apologize to Z. Yes, I'm sorry you got no reminder today. Today was actually the first day that I'm doing the stream for the podcast.
I'll take over the reminders going forward.
There you go. You can do the reminders for
Z and Wizzy McNasty, right? So we got those two. To if anybody else has any disgruntles about not being alerted ahead of stream, please let me know. I'll work on it. I will personally tag you. I will add you to the list.
Add you to the very informed persons list.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got started a little bit late, and I didn't have some stuff set up. Like, poor Liam was a Richie for like 20 minutes or so. Yeah. And the video game screen was a lot smaller. And yeah, it took me a minute to get everything on point.
But
next time though.
We're working on him being more in control of the stream and me being more in control of the social media stuff. And now that he has the better computer. So yeah. Well, shall we take a quick interlude, grab some noms, and come back with some fun gameplay?
Do it.
I think that we should. Did you have anything you wanted to say to close everything out as the podcast portion comes to a close, and then we start doing some fun gameplay, sir?
No, just in general, like how happy I was with the alpha, you know, really, really surprised. Glad that they're fixing so many, like the networking issues, the slowness of the servers and stuff, the rubber band, and all of that is, for me anyway, my experience on both US now and EU servers, it's just been really, really good. So if anybody from the outside looking in thinking like, what are they even doing? Like fixes wise from Intrepid. Yeah, fair play. They're doing really well.
Mm-hmm. And what was I gonna say? We're gonna be streaming and we're gonna be taking your questions and stuff like that during our gameplay. So feel free to keep throwing those questions at us. Feel free to let us know if there's anything that you're interested in. I know we're gonna be committing virtual suicide at some point with seeing how far we can fall and take the most damage for Umbra as requested.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So as has been requested, we will be jumping off of cliffs a couple times to test the respawn system and the fall damage. We're gonna try and hunt down some underrealm that we can sneak into. Check out some of those biomes. And if you think of anything else you'd like to see or have tested, feel free to let us know. I am going to be doing most of the stream stuff here, so I will be on my tank.
I will be hanging out as long as Liam is hanging out. Vertec will probably be streaming long after me, but as soon as Liam drops, I'm going to be probably dropping off, but that's because now that Vertec has taken over streaming, I get to give my computer a nice new refresh that is much needed. So that's my project for tonight and tomorrow. Yeah, it needs the big sleep and the big Phoenix rebirth. I don't know.
Alama Snack Bar wants to know if you are secretly Ricky Gervais. No, he is.
No, he's me.
I get that quite a lot.
Also, Horrendous, is this your first time, Liam, on the East Coast server?
So we're on East Coast now?
Yes.
For the Resna server, yeah.
So
Resna server.
Last week when I joined you guys after the podcast, it played absolutely fine then as well. And then the previous testing before the weekend, I think there was only US servers available. We always been on the most busy ones, and the very first weekend it was a bit shaky. Every time after that, it's been absolutely perfect, even from UK here.
Nice.
Awesome.
Good to hear.
That's
Strong,
good to hear,
strong
yeah.
thing happening. Yeah. All right.
Ping is strong.
Noms, and we'll be right back.
Yes.
Don't
this
go
timer is
anywhere.
going to
Grab
say
your
5
snacks.
minutes. It's probably going to be closer to 10 or like 11. Just so you guys know.
I will grab my food and then come running back to keep you guys company until we go live.
All right. Well, for those of you who are leaving after the podcast portion to get back to your own testing, please feel free. Thank you for spending your time with us thus far tonight. It's much appreciated. Could have been doing anything like testing yourself instead of hanging out with us talking about it. And if you don't have access to Alpha 1, you could have been, I don't know, doing chores. Those are important. But not nearly as fun. So, you know, good choice coming here.
That's fair. Yeah.
But yeah, for those of you who have to go.
And if you do have Alpha 1 and you want to play with us, we're on Resna.
Yeah, just let us know.
Just adding that real quick.
We'll probably be popping into a Discord and hanging out in there, so. All right, timer's going up. We'll probably be a double timer here, but we'll be right back.